I am Frances Bush, co-chair of this committee. As you know, Councilman Brewer is the chair, but he's running a little bit late, so we're going to get started. Our starting time is at 5:30 and we end at 6:30. So no matter if we're late starting, we still end at 6:30, okay? So let's start with introduction, starting with Ms. Carpenter.
Clarice Carpenter, First District.
Cedric Kirkendall, demolition.
Yeah, Rufus Purnell, the 5th District.
Maxie Fitzgerald Williams, Recycling Director.
Derek Hutton Kinsey, Code Enforcement.
Millie Glenn, Building Department with Code Enforcement.
Nick Bassel, 6th District.
Civil rights activist, Mr. Reese, 4th District.
Thank you, everyone, for being here, and we are going to get started. Code enforcement was the first one here, so we're going to start with code enforcement. Dedrick?
Derek. Yes.
Derek, okay. Would you like to bring us up to date as what's going on with code enforcement?
Yeah, just a few things. During our last 5x5x5 in the First District, Code Enforcement had 31 violations written up. At the last cleanup, we had 6 abandoned vehicles towed. The last in the First District, it was in the Edna area. We had those violations sent to court, and they will be in court December 17th. If you guys are interested in seeing the number and the type of cases that we have going into court each month, we hold court down at 555 Polk every 4th Tuesday of every month.
Tuesday?
4th Tuesday at 1:30.
Fourth Tuesday
Yeah.
at 1:30.
They used to have it on Wednesday, yeah?
It's at 1:30.
Yes, at 1:30 p.m. There is court on Wednesdays, but
That's code
it's,
enforcement at 1:30, we be, Wednesdays would be there.
but not for no cases. Those for covered cases.
Okay, the code enforcement's 4th Tuesday at 1:30, correct? Okay. Any questions of code enforcement?
Yes, do they, when they go to court, do they follow through with correcting whatever the violation was?
So the process is this. So they meet at the first hearing for omnibus, status of the hearing. If they had corrected the problem before they get to the omnibus hearing, then we issue a $50 recheck fee. If it is still in disarray, then we issue fines and costs. Then they get issued another court date, usually 2 weeks to a month out, which is another status hearing. But basically after that, then judgment is entered. And if they still haven't complied at that point in time, if it's a corporation, it's sent to collections. And if it's an individual, a bench warrant is sent out for the arrest.
So they let you know that they corrected the violation?
Yeah, so the same
Okay.
day that they have the hearing, we go out and we check
To see?
every single property that's in court that day, that same day.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions of code enforcement?
Code.
Yes, sir.
The problem we're having now is garages. Do you guys check the garages? We're having a massive problem with people maintaining their garage also.
Yes, sir. We do check for garages. We do have, that's part of the city ordinance, so that's something that we do write people up for. It's exterior fixtures of the
The
home.
exterior, things like
Yeah.
that, for some of the
So
obvious
we
reason.
do check for that, as well as lawns in the main home, stuff like that.
Is that right? So are you go in backyards also too?
Yeah, we drive through the front of the house and the back of the house to check
Okay.
the alleyways and
Yeah, because we having a problem in my particular neighborhood. We got quite a few people with the Illinois license plates. This one guy, he's been there for about 5 or 6 years in that house, and I still see Illinois license plates in there. trying to be nice about it and talk about it, but, you know, he still has Illinois license plates, you know.
If you can give me that address, or put it in the 311 system, put it underneath code
I can
enforcement,
give it
because
to
it
you
might be.
right now.
Oh, you can give me the address right
Can
now.
I interject on
Okay, it's
that?
2401 Johnson. And he parks it in the back, and then we got quite a few people that are.
Excuse me.
The-
I just want to interject on that for the Illinois, the Gary Police Department is mainly handling that because you have to have your plates change over within 60 days.
Yeah.
Within being in the city. So the police department is going through and they're taking count or note of who has a license, who's been here for a certain amount of time. And then they go back and they give them tickets or citations if they haven't had to change.
Okay,
So we
good.
basically don't do that because it's a thing of, we only do plates that are expired. But the police department is keeping track of how long they've been at that residence. So we don't keep track of that, the police department is running that from the
Okay,
Illinois
they
plates.
operate that, because this
Yes.
guy, several people, they park in their backyard. They don't park on the street. They smart, they know what they're doing is illegal, but, you know, but he's been there for at least 4 or 5 years, you know.
Yeah, so
You
if you
said
want,
it's parked on the lawn?
He's in the back of his house, he has his back.
Is it on pavement?
What?
Is it on pavement?
Uh-uh.
Okay.
No, but you can come over there and take a look and see. Then we have a situation too. We got quite a few people that are having abandoned vehicles, but they put a good license plate. The plate is valid, man. I said, how did they get a plate like that? You know, said the car is junk, it don't work. It's about 4 or 5 of them, man. You know.
That's a felony. But if you find issues like that where you suspect it to be not the right plate, we don't have the capacity to look up like the
Yeah.
plate number. We can call the
Yeah,
Gary
you go
Police to
check
get
it out and see, but try to be nice and talk to the people about it, but for some of our reason, you know, they have chosen to ignore it. Now we have a massive problem, 2300 block of Lincoln, that's Beckman School. It's unsecured now. The Beckman School, it's open, so they are starting to dump. They're doing construction debris in there. There's about 6 piles up there of construction debris. At one time, they never had construction debris up in there, but now you see big piles of, you know, roofing, shingles, drywall, and everything, so they have chosen to use that as a dump site. But the fence used to be closed off there, so you couldn't get up in the property. But for some obvious reason, that particular gate or fence has been, you know, opened up. So, you know, that's another ugly problem in that one, you know. I said, I really can't do anything about it. They keep asking me. I said, I don't work for the city, man. You know, I said, you gotta call your council person or someone. So hopefully we can get that straight. It's starting to be a real dump.
So you know who owns 2300 Lincoln?
Well, it was Larry Webb, man. After that, after him going over there, they've been in court. He never shows up in court. He comes sometime, code enforcement court. He never, when on the roll call, he never goes up there. He sits in the back all the time, you know. But obviously, you know, he knows what's going on, and, you know, I think, you know, he's just trying to get from underneath the property since he can't do anything with it.
Okay, I have a question for code enforcement. Does anybody else have a question before if a person from code enforcement is driving down the street and they see a car parked up on the sidewalk, what happens?
Well, me personally, I would go pull in to where they are and inform them that they can't park on that fairway, that on the sidewalk. And if they take heed to what I said, usually they do take heed to what I said and they move. But if I see it again, then I would cite the property. If it's it's tricky because the sidewalk could be considered public property, but if they're on their like lawn/sidewalk, then it could be like private property. So like towing on private property is a little tricky, but I would definitely tag the car. I would try to, you know, educate the person, because a lot of people that's doing these violations aren't from here, they're from Chicago, so they don't have that same type of enforcement out there. But I would inform them first, and then if I see it again, then I'm tagging it to be told by the police department.
Okay, does every code enforcement officer do the same thing? Are they all?
It's a uniform process.
And can you speak to what you all's process is? I think that's what Mrs. Bush getting at. I understand what you may do.
Okay.
But what is the process? Because everybody should do the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's uniform. So if the car's in the street, and it's in violation, then it's getting towed right then and there, because like we have the power to call it in and get it towed at that juncture. It might take a little longer for the tow to happen, but it's gonna happen right then and there. We're gonna call a unit out and we're gonna tow it. If it's on a lawn or if it's on the fairway, which is like the sidewalk, then the lawn is 24 hours and then it gets towed. The fairway is a 72-hour sticker and then it's towed after 72 hours. And if it's parked on public property private property illegally, then we cite the home for having a car that's illegally parked. And then the judge will issue an injunction for us to go onto the property and take the cars off the property, tow the cars off the property.
Okay, I thank you for that. I understand what you're saying, but apparently that's not happening. And the reason I say that is because I can drive down the street and those same cars are parked on the sidewalk week after week after week. So that leads me to think that maybe that's not a uniform procedure.
Is that in a particular area?
Pardon me?
Is that in a particular area that you see them on there?
In
all
the
time?
3rd district.
In the 3rd district?
Um,
Okay. I know we've gotten some I've gotten some emails from the mayor, from constituents, stating people parking up in the grass and on the sidewalk and whatnot. So what I do is I send the code inspectors over there, and we do try to educate the constituents, tell them that they can't park on the lawn. Now, if they continue to park on the lawn, then they'll be cited. The property itself can be cited. It is up on the property. But if it's in the street, like you said before, without the tags or anything on it, then that's when we can tow it. But if it's on the property, half the time, we have to just cite the property.
Okay, all right. I'm speaking just on the
Person.
sidewalk and the easement.
That's
That's,
a 72-hour sticker, not a 72 hour, 24-hour sticker that should be posted on the vehicle. So like if you go there and no one is home, you put the 72-hour sticker on there, then you come back and if it's still on there, then you just cite them, you have to cite the property. Because technically, we're not supposed to tow off of the property. So then we would have to go on and cite the property.
And I think I understand exactly what you're saying, Ms. Bush. If there's a car that's on the sidewalk there, what's the process? And I understand you can't just educate everyone. Do
Right.
you just go ahead and put the sticker on there and you move about to the next one? Because we have so many issues in the city.
Right.
And that's one problem that council members talk about. Code enforcement is not throughout the city enough and taking care of things. So it's kind of hard trying to educate everyone. Maybe you can educate one that's outside.
Right.
But if I got 3 cars that's lined up here on the block, I'm just going to tag each one of them and I won't keep on moving.
Right.
You see the 72, 24-hour sticker, you know what it says that you need to do, and next time I come back, I want to tow the vehicle. I mean, the penalties have to get a little tougher. You know, you can't just continue to be nice to everyone because there's such a need in the city for so many different things.
Right.
But the process has to speed up.
It was at one point that if code enforcement was there, they would go ahead and tow the vehicle, but then it got a little grayish area. They said that, we couldn't actually tow off the property. So it's like it had to be fully in the street for us to do a tow. So then that's when they had us to go back and just cite the property, and it could take a little longer because then you have to wait till the court day come up, the person to get the notice in the mail, and then we have to go back and see if because say like the day of court, they go out and do their inspection. The car is not there at the time. So they'll go in court and say it was corrected. The car is no longer there. But then after that, they'll go back and park again. So then that's when, if it keeps happening, then that's when you have to go through a procedure of, if it's done reoccurringly, then we have to get the attorney involved in it, then he has to get an injunction to go and actually tow the vehicle off the property. So it's a process that we have to go
So
through.
question, so the police have the power to
No, actually, they don't, to not take it off the property.
off the property?
If Cole, at one point, if Cole was there, then the police would tow it off the property. Then they told
Well,
us
only
that
if it's on the city street, public way or.
Yeah,
Right.
public way, yeah.
Right.
They can do it.
Right.
Okay.
They can't, the police have to have a proper cause
Right.
for on the property to do it, so.
Mr.
It's
Rizzo.
Rico. And
I don't know who's it really directed to. 2 years ago, I attended a meeting here. We started talking about dumping, and I don't know which department spoke on it, but you stated you got somebody was going to put up cameras in certain areas, and I'm trying to find out what happened to the cameras supposed to be put up. And then I have another question because I have a area 17 from Monroe, and I had adopted that block, cleaning that area up, and there's no houses on the block. And as a matter of fact, they put so much stuff down there that I actually construction materials to use it to rebuild on my regular house. So it's just that much stuff over there. And then anybody can address the issue also, how do you get a roadblock to block that particular road off? Because there's no house on the block. They dump constantly, and then they come down the block and have sex. I mean, it's a bad area, you know. And I've been complaining about the area for a long period of time. There's a sheriff, used to be head detective Bronson. He used to sit down there, and it's getting real irritating now because, see, all it takes is one little spot for a person to come by to see dumping, and then they start going block by block by block. And with my organization, me and my people was cleaning the whole 7-8 block radius. But then when we started doing just those 2 blocks, we was bombarded because it was so much garbage and so much stuff, debris on there. Everything from car rims to tires. I know y'all remember seeing that mess I had on the side of my house. All that came from just doing 3 blocks straight. I found 79 tires, 62 bags of garbage. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, and that's within 2 blocks. You know, so I'm trying to find out what happened to the cameras, if there are any. And then how do you get the block, Kincaid block, who do I contact to get it Kincaid block from both ends? Because it's a desolate block, it's a circle block, it's by railroad tracks. And I want to make a point, the importance of that is also, several years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I was cleaning a yard out, and it was a cute little coon jumped into the bucket. And I took it home, played with the coon, turned out it was a baby fox. So I watched the foxes and the wolves come off the railroad track, and if there's garbage there, that's where they stay. So I'm just, letting you know that's a bad issue. So I'd like to know who I talk to. Anybody got the answers to the questions, cameras, and how do you block off the block?
As far as the camera, I don't know of any places with the cameras, and if there was, I couldn't actually tell you, you know. Yeah. Right.
The normal heads we usually have in the code enforcement,
But as far as the street being blocked off, I was.
concrete barrier.
Right.
I even put trees need to fell out there.
Well, I-
block the street off.
I would say, Mr. Reese, so that's probably a traffic situation to make sure that, I would say probably the traffic department.
Okay, traffic
And
department.
they'll probably correlate with general service if that's possible.
Okay, and then cars the dumping, you can't put no cameras with nobody?
You could put your personal cameras there. I don't believe, I know that the city is not in the position to put cameras
But
up.
somebody has said that when
Yeah.
I was at a meeting, because they.
I know it's not coming from my desk where we're putting up cameras right now.
The
Yeah.
mayor said at one time she was gonna put up cameras,
Okay.
but that would be so costly.
Yeah, we're not financially right now
Yeah,
to
we
do
couldn't
that.
pay
Yeah.
that,
Yeah, but I mean, dump every day, all day, that's the
I'm
point.
saying.
that's too expensive.
Could you cite the ordinance, code ordinance, in black and white, so we know what it really involves about parking on the sidewalk for cars?
You're not supposed to park on the sidewalk, which is the fairway. You're not supposed to park up on the lawn.
I mean, is there a code number, an ordinance number? That you could you give it to us in the
I
future?
have it at home.
Yeah, I
I have
can
it
get
with
it
me.
I'd like to clarify like that too, and have it right.
Okay.
Can I make a statement? And just kind of, for those who don't know, down in the, Miss Smith, which is another part of the council office, on the first floor, they have in the rack a bunch of code ordinances and no-nos of it. So anybody who want to know what you can and can't do, they're down there. Last time I checked, and you'd be amazed some of the things that are no-no for the city against the ordinances, whatever you say. But sometimes average person does not know. To be honest with you, because I know with 8-foot grass is kind of obvious, 8-inch grass, but then there's other things that I read on the paper and I did not know it was on that was against the ordinance of certain things. So if anybody want to know,
You can find a list of all the Gary municipal ordinances and codes on the Gary City Clerk website. And it's like in the easy click menu bar, it'll say Gary Municipal Code, and then it'll have them all listed. I think the beginning to the one about parking is 128, so when you go to the website, just type in 128.
and they should have the same information as the paper thing down in the council.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because the reason I'm saying that is paper-wise, because some people are older, most people are older on their homes. And so they're not either computer literate or the print is too small. I think it's the cheaper fancy phone they have to play with the microphone. So, magnifying that. So what I'm saying is, if it's in print, you can kind of see better.
Yes, sir, we got you.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So let's move on a little bit there. If there's any other question for Code Enforcement, we can always come back. But let's go to Ms. Fitzgerald at this time, and I'll let her get started.
Code enforcement.
Good evening. I'm Maxie Fitzgerald Williams, the Director of Recycling, and I just wanted to remind the citizens about our annually Christmas tree collection. We're speaking of live trees. We ask that you take all decorations off the trees and place them at curbside December 28th, and we'll collect through January the 10th. So we're just asking that you place the live tree at curbside between January 10th through through January 10th from December 28th. We also have several holidays that come in conflict with your recycling pickup. So I do have a schedule here, and it's on several of the City of Gary websites as well as social media, and it's just reminding the citizens that December 24th and 25th, there will be no recycling pickup due to the holidays. So we'll fall again for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. The city will be closed. So we will not have recycling pickup on those days either. We encourage the citizens to make sure they take advantage of the free shredding program, which is at 900 Madison Street. We shred for the citizens 3 times out of the week, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. And we just ask that you bring your shredding material, financial documents, and any of your documents that have your social security number on it. We will shred those documents while you wait, and that's at 900 Madison Street. We do have the drop-off site at 900 Madison Street where you can drop off your televisions, computers, cell phones, printers, and fax machines. That service is only drop off at 900 Madison Street, Monday through Friday. If you have any further questions concerning those services, you can call us directly at 882-8445, extension 3. We do have several vehicles that are down in the recycling department, so you might see overwhelming sight of yard waste. So we have one truck that is going out throughout the city Monday through Friday to collect the yard waste. Once the vehicles are back in service, then we'll start back on our scheduled pickup, which would be the first and third week, the west side of Broadway, and the second and fourth week, the east side of Broadway. We do plan to collect every yard waste bag in the city of Gary, so we just ask you to be patient with us. Once those trucks are back in service, we will be out to collect those bags. Thank you.
I have one question.
Yes.
On the shredding, are you closed for lunch hour at some time? And what are those hours?
Okay, so yes, we're doing from noon to 1, we're closing for lunch. And so shredding would be from 8 a.m. to 2:30 p.m., but we are closed for lunch between 12 to 1.
Okay.
And that is 3 days out of the week that we
I
will
would like
shred.
also.
Right.
I know it was closed because I was down there, but you don't have anyone to work between those times?
Not at this time, because myself and the other helper, we're out collecting yard waste at this time because we have so many trucks down. So we only have one person that's going to shred per day, and the others are out taking care of other recycling responsibilities. But we do accommodate by giving 3 days for the citizens to come in and shred for free.
Thank you.
Ms. Williams, if you take like the Thanksgiving holiday that we just had, that Thursday and that Friday, how do you do the makeup days on when that happens? Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. How do you do the makeup for the citizens?
So with all trucks in service, then the guys would work overtime on the following Saturday. So with us being short so many trucks right now, we just go ahead and start back over the next working day. Say for instance, if your pickup was Thursday and we were closed Thursday and we were closed Friday, then that Saturday we would be out collecting the recycling.
So you would be able to make up both of those days in one day?
Yes, the guy, and they've been so dedicated in working overtime. Just like now, we're short trucks, so we have the guys are doubled up in trucks. Not only are they doubled up in the truck, but they're doubled up on routes. So these 2 trucks are going throughout the city collecting the routes daily in different districts to make sure that all the recycling is off the ground.
You mentioned that you would pick up a computer. If you pick up a computer and they got personal information in there, how do you get that out of the computer?
Okay, so the computers, any e-waste, which would be the computers, televisions, cell phones, fax machines, copiers, we do not pick up.
Right.
That's a drop-off service only, and you can drop those off at 900 Madison. But removing of any personal information would be up to the owner. Before they bring those items, we do suggest that you remove all hard drives.
Okay.
And to piggyback to the comment there, so if a citizen come and you're at lunch, is there still a drop-off place where they can drop these items off?
Yes.
Not just to go back home and try and come back.
Right.
Is there a drop-off center someplace there where it says, you can drop off system, drop off basket or whatever?
Yes, so you are able to drop your computer off. We have the storage container outside on the south side of the parking lot of 900 Madison. So you could just place the item next to the gray storage container, and we would place the container inside at the end of the day.
You're talking to
No.
shred.
And is
For
that
shredding?
shredding?
Oh, no, I absolutely do not recommend for you to leave your CrewNet information with anyone or anyone, to leave it at a place where you're not watching it. So no, lunch hour, fortunately, we have to give our workers the lunch hours. So we just ask that if you call before you come, but the lunch hour never changes. The lunch hour would be from 12 to 1. And if I'm there and the door, someone comes, then I'll be glad to shred for you. But right now with the trucks being down, it calls most of us to be out in the field. But we will accommodate you with no problem. But please never leave that information with anyone.
I don't want to sound like Scrooge, but when you mentioned overtime, does that mean they get paid extra money if they have holidays and such, or is it just regular time?
If it's a holiday, then yes, they will receive overtime plus holiday pay.
Okay, I just-
Yes, sir.
I want to make sure that's,
We want to treat our employees right.
okay.
Mhm.
And that's within the budget?
Yes,
Okay, good.
yes.
Thank you.
Keep moving. Mr. Kirkendall, I don't know if you've been up yet, but you're
Yes.
next.
Hey, I'm Cedric Kirkendall, the demolition coordinator for the city. And the numbers that we have to date are, since 2011, we've demolished 1,497 properties. That's residential and commercials and garages are included. 2019, we demolished 275 properties. In the first district, the last 5x5, we had inspected 34 vacant properties. 6 required board up, and we do board up with open doors and windows, first floor and basement levels only. There was one emergency at 3340 East 12th Avenue. That property has been bid out. We are waiting for funds. Well, we're waiting for the MOU to be signed by the county because they're going to provide funds for some demolition. And we bid out, let's see, I think we bid out 17 properties with their funds. One of those properties is 501 West 11th Avenue. That's right by Sojourner Truth, the collapsing structure with the bricks falling across the street from the in-house demolition yard. That property was bid out, and I think that it came in at maybe $48,000 to get that property demolished. So that's one of the ones that the county is going to provide funds for demo. So we did bid out 17 properties, and then we bid out another 10 additional properties along the railroad. There's been some extensive cleanup along the railroad from, I think, Kentucky Street all the way to like Jefferson. So 10 of those properties, which are all emergencies, burnout, collapsing, full of debris, we bidded those properties out as well. We're just waiting for the funds to come to us so that we can schedule with the contractors when they can get started, but we can't start until that MOU is signed and the purchase order is generated. So once that happens, then they'll begin the demolition with that. So those are the numbers for demolition from 2011 and also 2019. There's a possibility that Reith Riley may come in and join the city as well. They've done it twice in the last 3 years. I think they demolished 23 properties in Etna. All of their action took place in Etna. They haven't decided on an area right now, but I've given them more addresses for Etna, Marshalltown, Terrytown, and Black Oak. Most of those properties are, well, what Reith Riley wanted to do, they wanted to tear down properties that didn't have a basement. All slab houses, so it makes it easier for demolition. It costs less. They wouldn't have to bring in backfill material, which is costly. So once they remove the slab, it's just really sand up under it. It may take minimal backfill to level it out and make it look nice and everything. So I've provided those addresses as well. I just don't know which direction they're going to take. I also provided 20 commercial buildings because it's a possibility they may move forward with some commercial. I'm not for sure, but I sent that list of commercial properties as well. The entrance and exits to the city. I've targeted those properties and entrance and exits to the city probably 11 years ago. And if you ride down Buchanan Street, there's a lot of demolition that took place between 3rd and 5th. All of the burnouts, those are pretty much gone. There still are some vacant properties there, but we were concentrating on the burnouts. Those are the properties that you wouldn't have to contact the owner. You can tear them down under the emergency statute. Off of 8094, right at Broadway, there's been a couple properties that were demolished. Also, right the next street east of Massachusetts. So if you ride down Broadway, you'll see a lot of vacant land now, more so than vacant buildings. So we've targeted that. So I say Buchanan, Broadway. We did some demolition on Grant Street. That was some years ago. So we kind of targeting entrance and exit. We tore down a property off the highway coming off of Grant Street. There's still some more. I see that one building has partially collapsed. I'm in touch with that owner.
That's
She-
on Grant.
Yeah,
2400 block.
2467 Grant Street. The south wall failed, but she contacted our office and she's trying to contact demolition contractors to get that cleared up right now. So she just called yesterday. So she's working on that to try to get that eyesore removed as well. So we're trying to concentrate on the entrance and exits of the city, so when people come in, they're not just bombarded with blight. 2515 Broadway, which is next door to the pool hall on 25th and Broadway, the entire roof has collapsed to the basement. That address has been submitted for possible demolition. So I went from 49th all the way to 6th and Broadway, and the worst out of the worst, I submitted those addresses.
Well, I see you have made some progress, and I think that's 1900 block of Broadway West.
Northwest corner?
Yeah, that
And
commercial
the,
side gone, and the old Pound Coleman.
Correct.
Funeral home that's tore down.
Right.
So now I believe we can.
We
make
tore down
progress.
the St. John's Hospital.
Yes.
It just fell in on itself,
Yeah.
so it needed to go.
Okay.
So we're trying to clean up the most visible blight that you can see when you come into the city.
And with the burnouts, you're still utilizing the fund from the insurance dollars too?
If it comes before us, yes. Like 2934 West 13th Avenue is another property where the owner is paying for the cost of demolition. But he's interested in deeding that property over, and we'll add that to the list of hardest hit properties. And then it'll become city-owned property, and we can use it as a side lot program with a neighboring owner. Deed it over to them if they submit the application that they're interested, and then it'll go on the tax roll with them.
There's a property that caught fire probably a year, maybe 2 years ago, right on 15th and maybe the 1400 block of Taft. There's a house there. You got the grocery store here.
It's north of it, White.
North, yes, White, 2-story.
1372 Taft Street.
You're real good, yeah. Yeah.
But the owner was interested in paying for the cost of demolition. He contacted, which was maybe 2 years ago.
Yes.
It's been burned for about 3 years now, maybe 4.
Right.
But they wanted to demolish it themselves. That hasn't happened.
So I was wondering, was there insurance there?
I haven't
where
heard
the city has
anything.
blamed the property?
Because that insurance, that goes through, starts with the fire department, and then it goes to the building department.
Okay.
And then they'll notify me that they've been in contact with an owner that has insurance.
Right.
And that's how I get the ball rolling as far as demolition is concerned.
Is there a
So-
time limit on how long they can stand there without the owner doing something with it?
I believe there is a time frame that's put in place, because what I'm talking about, there's a program we have adopted from the city now, where if your property catch fire or anything else, and no longer you can just take all the money and walk away from the city,
Yeah.
you're stuck with it. We put a lien on it of 10% of the insurance proceeds, where until you decide what you're going to do, we have at least 10% of those dollars there. So I just want to know that the property have insurance on them. Where
Yeah, I
does it
haven't been
stand?
notified of that.
So-
But with the insurance money, we've demolished, I think, 6. Since that started, I think we've demolished about 6 properties using this insurance money from owners.
Yeah? Now, come on with this reason.
What are you gonna do
I
about?
looked at it.
There's some place.
I looked at it.
And then, what's up with Popeyes? Anybody know what's up with Popeyes?
I don't know.
They're second them.
I'll give you an update on that at the end.
The Gibson place, Gibson, those addresses are included with the list for the demolition in Etna, because it's probably 12, 13, 14 on that block.
Just go boom, and it's all gone.
So we did a couple houses on Green Street. We did Green, 4729 East 10th Avenue, 4608 East 10th, 4609 East 10th. But that's going to take a lot of effort to get those properties torn down on Hamilton, Gibson, Fayette, all of those streets. So they were included. It's probably about 45 properties in that area that either are emergencies or require an unsafe building here, and so those addresses have been included.
On Gibson Place is definitely, let's see.
Yeah, I got your call the other day.
Gotta say, what up the hell out of you? Cause you can talk to 70 hits and stuff right on the address. You know what's up in your job, and we don't want to lose you.
I hope I'm staying here.
I hope so.
All right.
I hope so.
Hey, look.
Keep it clean.
Don't hurt nobody's feelings,
Keep it
but
clean.
that's something to say. It's time to come out.
Keep it clean, keep it clean. You know, we on the air.
Hey,
All
I tell you, it's coming out now.
No, don't let it come out, please, don't.
You know, I
got
said,
the
when I
beat.
came in, I heard everybody, I heard the, okay? Who's the head of code enforcement now? You. Okay. Now, everybody in our city wants this done, they want that done. But, you know, me and her talked, and how about pride? Anybody got some pride where you lay your, you know? They get up, they work their tails off, okay? Now, me, myself, I'm pissed. Because Thanksgiving, my neighbors in Etna had to endure 2 houses where they did clean outs, threw them out. Who wants to come to a city with garbage in front of your house from somebody else? General services don't have the magic wand to go boop, 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 and it's gone. Either the residents start getting off their butts, or code enforcement, you start giving out them tickets. And I mean give them out. Because I called in way before Thanksgiving and told you to. Answer me this. You got Thanksgiving just like I got Thanksgiving. Do you want to see some garbage in front of your house or your neighbor's house? You see my point? The landlords in this city need to step up. They had no right to step out of that house into the city street because the city ain't got to come get it. So now, they deserve a ticket. Because not only have they embarrassed the city, they have embarrassed their neighbors. Because when family comes in, nobody will see that stuff. You know, I come before and I let go, and then I quit coming because I thought, you know, that's a part of shit. I get out of the house, I go out here, you know, and it's the same people, same song and dance. You know, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. The people in this room are the hard workers. Rizzo, you know I ain't lying. We've been out cleaning it up. The people in the houses sit on their walks, we're out there cleaning up their mess.
Right.
Now, either a New Year's coming in here, and everybody's out, Karen, Karen, my book. Because Karen was on that riding lawnmower too.
Yes, sure.
It's the residents that have gotten lazy. They don't do a damn thing to help each other. All they're going to do is sit there and point that finger. Get off your butt and get out there and pick that paper up. You know that garbage man came. You know he came. And you know you had a little seat of pizza. So that box is out there in the street. Get your butt and go get that box. You know that box is yours. No, instead, they're waiting for the wind to blow. And then somebody else, you know, has to go out and pick up your mess. See, I'm the right one. Y'all got the right one here. I've been with code enforcement, I've been with general service. I ain't taking no more mess. This coming New Year, residents, you better get off your asses, you better start cleaning up your yard, you better start doing what you do. And you're tired of the cars. I've been yelling about them cars, haven't I, bro?
You have.
This is our city. Ain't no white folks coming over here to do a damn thing against us or help us. Ain't no magic wand gonna come through here and clean up nothing. Look at Clay Street. We have spotless. I was gonna play today, man. There's a dead body over there. There's that much junk over there.
It's not. She said it looks like.
Yeah. That's where it looks. Don't you people realize if you don't start having to pride in your own doggone city like we used to have, we're gonna be worse than what it was.
Okay.
Hey, I don't care no more, I'm fed up. Landlords, I want them landlords, I want you two to get off your roofs, I want you to go in the city to where they got to sign their names, honey, for the rental properties, and I want them houses starting to get checked out. It's winter time. Furnaces are gonna go out and all people are gonna be cold. The landlords need to step up. Am I right?
You're right. But let me say this. Anytime you see someone cleaning out their house and they're putting all this stuff up front and they don't have a dumpster, call code enforcement. That is a code violation. That is illegal dumping. What are you doing in front of your house? That's still illegal dumping, or putting it in the alley. You have to have a dumpster. Landlord just can't come and sit out all people's stuff in the front and think garbage man gonna magically get it. She says that's called code enforcement, but we can take care of that property. Yes, even if the tenant put it out.
I was going out with seven.
But then let me go. Mr. Rizzo been had his hand up for a while.
Yeah, it's starting to hurt. I
Yeah.
almost forgot what I was gonna ask. I got a question. I've been in this organization for, I don't know, before you was here, sir, so when Brooke was here. And I represent the people, and just as well I consider myself to be a public person, so citizens, whatever. But my question to you guys, even when Roy Pratt was here, it's okay, speaking as a public person, to say we working with the city. But as a citizen, my question to you and those at the table who have brain, why don't we do the Ron Brewer, Councilman, whatever the title of this organization is, do our own separate cleanups without having city entities? Because when you say city, some people get kind of thought away because a lot of people don't like working with city people. Now, I'm not trying to offend anybody, code enforcement or whatever, but usually the idea, the idea of most people when you say city is, first thing you remember about theft and all this stuff back there, you click stuff. So why don't we do projects on our own? Clean up neighborhoods like I have in my organization, especially when it's up and running, I have about 15 people. And I mean, right now I can get everybody in a ride on lawnmower. And we go around the neighborhood, we do certain things, and it's set. And then what we do is, if we know some certain big heads on the block, or a couple blocks, we cut close to their block, and then they'll start cleaning up. And that's pretty much how it goes, so like a competition thing. But why don't we do private things without the city sometimes?
Well, we used to do that, and when they started the 5x5 and all that.
I mean, we can join them, you don't get me
right.
wrong, but what I'm saying,
So-
as far as being an organization, what I'm saying is that why we can't, because you got a lot of churches out there who will participate. I mean, churches.
Well, if that's the pleasure of this committee, if they would like to go back doing that.
Right.
You look around at this committee, you don't have a bunch of young folks in here either.
Yeah, I know. I didn't
So
say that,
you
but
have to,
yeah.
but you have to consider that at the same time, because you can't beat the same people
Yeah.
down as the
Right,
ones that
but I know that,
want
but what I'm saying is though, if we reach out, I'm sure that if you, like neighbors and stuff like that, if we go out to certain neighbors, and we, certain churches, so we got 800 some churches out here, and we reach out to them, that there, if we only get 30, 40 people out there, it makes a big difference, and they put more dedication into their own neighborhood, because it's their neighborhood, that's what I'm saying, because if you make it a more of a private thing, if you notice I was slamming you all the time, I was saying not a,
I know.
Yeah, but you notice what I was saying is not a politically connected organization.
Right.
And so that makes a big difference for an average person because most people don't want to be affiliated with the city all the time. So if we start going back, different, you said, the as one, as far as us doing in different teams, then that's fine. We can still join in the 5x5, but you get more productive work out of people who put more into the neighborhood. So that's all I have.
Well,
You gotta get them off, Rizzo. When we go on 5x5,
Something to consider for
Yeah.
next
I know that,
year.
but I'm saying.
Okay, well, wait a minute, let's just consider that in our meetings come next year. This is our last meeting for this year. We're gonna be off for a couple of months now, and we'll
Okay.
start back up probably in March, no later than
Right.
April, we'll start back up with our meeting.
Okay.
And we'll all consider that coming to meetings
I don't have
at
a
that
problem
time.
with it, but, just like I said, separate entities to make a dent, because we chipping off of iceberg. And if you got chip in different directions, and it's the sun melt, and that's what we get to everywhere, I just want to.
All right.
I agree with him.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Wait. I don't have my gavel in here. Ms. Carpenter.
I agree with him, and I think somebody made the statement a couple of years ago or a year ago. If we cleaned up coming into the city and going out of the city, which would be 4th and 5th Avenue, and Broadway.
And
If
Grant.
this group and Grant, if we did major areas like
Right.
that, this committee, and maybe, you know, I know everybody's getting older, but maybe you could get your nephew
You're getting
or
older too.
your young cousin and just say, I give you $10, get in the car,
Yeah.
get in the car with me, we're going Broadway.
Right.
But we have mentioned that before,
Right.
that we would do the coming in and the going out streets
Right.
in areas, so that's a possibility that we resume that, even if we did it maybe once or twice a month.
Right.
And like you said, try to get some of the churches to help
Right,
us.
get the churches, I mean, with the pastor say, everybody
Okay.
go with it.
Uh-huh,
think
but
if
that's a
we,
good idea.
Okay.
If we incentivize for like young college students,
Yes.
like,
Right.
Yes.
like at IUN, I personally have a relationship with the activities director. So we gave people, let's just say, community service hours. That's what every young college kid would need to get to internships, something like that.
Right.
If we gave community service hours once a month for people who go to school in this community, take pride in the community, and we frame it like that, then I think like that'd be an easy way to get more younger people.
That would
And
be
I wouldn't
good.
mind
Okay.
being the person to talk to them,
Okay.
whatever.
Right,
So.
right.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that sounds real good.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I think we could do it. I think we could resume doing some work, this committee.
Right.
I think we could, and I think we could get some people to help us.
I fix
Well,
lawn
let me-
mowers, I fix any type of machinery. I'm expert.
We have come to our time. It is now 6:30. We only hold an hour. We try not to go over if we don't have to, and we normally don't go over. We stay right on time. Let me just thank everyone for coming out and thank everyone for this year and all their cleanup efforts and making our city a better city. It takes all of us to come together and continue to do it. Just don't stop. We're gonna go through winter and we're gonna be back in spring before we know it. And the grass and stuff is gonna start back growing and we're
Yeah.
gonna be in the same process. But I think through this time of the winter season and then the holiday, we just need to reflect on how we wanna see our city and how we wanna get to that point there. You know, we all know we want the city clean, but I think we need to focus on the process. How do we get it to be the way we want it to see it? You know, whether we take it block by block, neighborhood by neighborhood, you know, what's the process? How we want to get it there. And I think we all have a little homework to do over the winter to see when we come back together in March or April, you know, which direction we're going to go and how we're going to tackle it. We will have a new administration that will be coming in, so his plans may be a little different than what we normally accustomed to. And at the first meeting, I look forward to having the new mayor at our first meeting. And,
Sounds good.
and I'm saying March because I like to plan early, so I'm going to put March out there. Will be an initial meeting that I think we should have. Whether the snow is on the ground or not, trust me, in April it's gonna start turning green, so we need to start planning early.
And I will be bringing this up next year.
Yes. Daryl has brought me the gavel, so just that we have no problems here. Let me just say also, I'm gonna have a update on the schools. I've been talking to Mr. Marikas. We have a partners meeting where we sit down with key partners in the city, decision makers in the city, and we talk about the plans of the city. And the schools have, not just with the incidents that we all know have just occurred, a serious issue because our schools have not been tackled, and we haven't seen a school come down in this city in many years. I'm talking about tore down, and we see them falling down.
One a
And
year.
we see them falling down, but you know, and one school particularly that sits out now is a safety hazard, it's Nobel School, and that's the first school that I have on the priority list to get taken down, because if you go by that school on any given day, the back of the school is literally off, where there's no bricks, and anyone can walk into that school. You look from the front, you can see the floors that have fallen in that school, and the school is wide open. So I talked to him about maybe we form some type of partnership with the city, where we can work to try and get these properties taken care of, because we have to come together and solve these problems. They got issues just like we have issues as a city, but we have to work together to get it done. But thank everyone for coming out. Everyone have a good and safe holiday, and I'll see everyone into the new year.
How about the ordinance?